What's up everyone, it's Kelly and today I've got another swatch and review for you. Today we're looking at two new collections from Essie. We've got their Study Tips collection and we've got their new Expressie FX toppers. Before we get into specifics, let's talk a little bit more about Essie. If you haven't heard of them before, they are a mainstream nail polish brand that is 8 free, meaning they're free of 8 of the potentially harmful ingredients that are often found in nail polish. They are vegan, meaning they do not use any animal derived ingredients, and they're also cruelty-free, meaning they do not test their products on animals. So like I said, we've got two collections to go over for today. We've got their Study Tips collection, which is part of their regular Essie line, and that's sort of their back-to-school collection. So we've got 6 cream polishes, all very fall-inspired colors. And then we have their Expressie FX top coats. So we've got 4 polishes in their Expressie line, which if you haven't heard of it before, I've reviewed it a couple of times. Basically, it's their quick drying line, and they also have a slightly angled brush, which is supposed to make application a little bit easier. Personally, I don't notice a difference, but if it helps some people, that's awesome. But this collection in particular is 4 special effects toppers, so they kind of shift depending on what color you're wearing them over. So I'm going to show you a couple of colors from the Study Tips collection, and then I'm also going to swatch them on their own and over black. So yeah, let's just dive right into the swatches, then we'll talk a little bit more about pricing, availability, my thoughts on these two collections. So roll the footage. So as with all of my swatch and review videos, I am using base coat underneath all of my swatches just to protect my natural nail and prevent any stains. Today I'm using the Orly Bonder base coat. So we'll start off with the Study Tips collection, which is the 6 cream finishes. This first shade is called Nail the Grade, and it's a really beautiful pink leaning maroon cream shade. And you can see it's not quite there in the first coat, but the opacity is really nice. This is definitely a good nail art color, but it does give me perfect coverage in 2 coats and it looks really beautiful on. It's definitely a classic fall color, and like I said, the formula is great here. It's very smooth, it's very self-leveling. That wide flat brush makes application super easy, and the color is just really pretty. It's got this slight dustiness to it that I think makes it feel more autumnal. Next up we have the shade Extra Credit, and this one is a soft peachy pink cream finish, and this one was also really impressive with the opacity. Sometimes I worry about later shades like this and think that they're going to need 3 coats, but this one was also almost there in that first coat, and I was able to get full coverage in the second. I do think that this one dries down just slightly darker than it looks in the bottle, and personally, this doesn't exactly scream fall to me, but I think it works really well with the other colors, and I think it's just one of those classic Essie shades that you'll always see. It's kind of just like a neutral pinky color that you could really wear any time of year. Next up we have the shade Sharpen Up, and I really love this color. It's this beautiful orangey yellow cream shade, and it looks like the exact color of a number 2 pencil, which I appreciate that little detail, and the formula is so impressive. Now, if you've been watching my channel, you probably know yellows for me are notoriously sheer. So whenever I come across a yellow that is opaque in 2 coats on me, I get very excited. But not only was this one opaque in 2 coats, it was almost opaque in the first coat. So this is a great nail art yellow. I love that like golden coloring to it also. It definitely makes it feel like the perfect fall shade. Next up we have the shade Homework It, and this one is a very light green cream. It's really interesting. It's almost this like faded chartreuse color, and it feels like it's the same level as a sage green, but instead of that bluish undertone, it has a very yellowish undertone. So I think it's a pretty unique color. I wasn't sure how I felt about the opacity. I got away with full coverage in 2 coats, but looking at it up close, I feel like around the cuticle area, it really could have used a 3rd coat, but I thought it was pretty nice in 2 coats just to my naked eye, and I think the color is really unique. Next up we have the shade Doodle the Minimum, and this one is a very light blue cream, almost a white. You can just see a hint of that bluish color, and I absolutely love these sort of almost white shades, especially for nail art. Sometimes you want to just have a really light, simple background for nail art, but white just feels too stark, and I think this is the perfect kind of color to work with for that. So this one was actually really opaque. It didn't feel chalky or difficult to work with. It was really smooth. I felt like it was opaque in 2 coats when I was looking at it, but on camera I figured it would probably require a 3rd coat, so I just went ahead and painted on a 3rd coat coat, but I feel like for my short nails, I can definitely get away with 2. I think it's pretty funny that this shade was more opaque than the shade Homework It, but yeah, it ended up being really pretty. Again, it doesn't scream fall to me, but it does feel like a nice back to school color, so I understand the vibe. And the final shade of the cream collection is Study Tips, which is the name of the collection, and this one is a really beautiful navy blue cream. It has a slight dustiness to it, and I love that it's still pretty light for being a navy blue. It doesn't look like one of those almost black colors, so in darker lighting you can still definitively see blue on your nails. Again, formula is just absolutely incredible. It was so smooth and self-leveling. I love navy blue and I love this slightly dusty color, so just another perfect fall shade. So here are all of the shades together, and I have to say I absolutely adore this color story. I know there's nothing crazy going on here, but all of the colors together just 100% encapsulate the feeling of back to school for me, and I just think they did a really good job curating this collection. Even those lighter shades that I don't really feel are very fall inspired still feel very back to school to me. So I think they did a great job with these colors, and again, the formulas were just incredible. So very easy to work with, very beginner friendly. So now let's move on to the FX filters. So first up, we'll do the 24K FX filter. Now I'm going to show you each of these polishes over my naked nail just so you can see what they look like on their own, and then I'll show you over a couple of different colors. But this one is absolutely stunning. It's this really soft golden, very small flaky, but around the edges the flakies look like an almost coppery color, so there's a little bit of a duochrome vibe going on, and I think this color is absolutely stunning. You can see over the pink it really transforms the color, and you can see that deep coppery color, but then when the light hits it, it looks super gold and vibrant. So this one became an instant favorite for me. Again, I know it's not the most unique shade, but I think it's just so beautiful. So I'm also going to be showing you each color over black, and again, you can see that really sparkly coloring. Over black, it definitely took on a little bit more of a yellow gold rather than that coppery gold, but still very beautiful, very transformative color. Next up, we have the Holo FX filter. So this one is a silver hollow glitter. It looks to me like it's mostly a silver shimmery glitter, super small little glitter specks in there, and then a slightly larger holographic silver micro glitter. So you can see the holo is pretty subtle. It looks nice when you're in direct sunlight, any sort of very direct lighting situation, but I would say most of the time this one appears to be a pretty silver top coat. I think there's definitely a big difference between holographic pigment from drugstore brands and holographic pigment from, say, like an indie brand, and for some reason they're just always a little bit more subtle. But you can see over yellow you definitely get a nice holographic sparkle in there. I figured it would be the most holographic over deeper colors, so when I applied it over black I expected it was going to be a little bit more holographic, and it was, but it was still very subtle. But you can see around the cuticle area, mostly where it's out of focus, is where you're seeing a lot of that rainbow sparkly color. So don't expect this to perform like an indie holo topper, but it's still great to have a drugstore option. Next up, we have the Iced Out FX filter, and this one is a pearlized iridescent shimmer. So looking at it head on, you definitely see a sort of blue purple shimmer, but then over lighter colors you see a little bit more of like a yellow greenish color, and it really depends on the angle of your nails. I was super excited about this one. I really love a pearlized shimmer, and there's actually no streakiness when you're working over lighter colors. So you can see over this light blue, it definitely gives it a little bit of a yellow tone, but when the light hits it, there's that beautiful blue purple sparkle, and honestly, I was into the vibe. I know not everybody is into it, but just out of curiosity, I wanted to try it over pink as well, and you could see again there's sort of that yellowish tint to it, but it still has that shimmery iridescent pearlized feel. So I think it's a fun one. I think it's an interesting shade. It's nothing terribly unique, and I feel like you could probably get this effect if you're just using a regular pearlized shimmer. I don't know if you need a specialty top coat for it. So I wanted to try it over a deeper color as well. I know I'm trying this one over a bunch of colors, but I was just curious how it performed, and over this darker maroon shade, it was so streaky. You could really see a lot of areas where it was patchy and areas where it just didn't give as much of that transformative effect. So definitely don't like this one over darker colors. I had the same experience when I tried it over black. I think the overall effect is really cool, and I love how over black it really transforms to this intense purple blue shimmer, but it was just so streaky and patchy and just not for me. I feel like it's very difficult to do an iridescent topper right, and I don't know that they fully did that, but I'm still gonna wear this over lighter colors because I thought it was really pretty. And last, and honestly possibly the least, we have the shade Oil Slick FX Filter. And this one, as you can see over the naked nail, there's really not much to show for it. This is the type of topper that really only works over very deep shades. It's sort of this multi-chrome shimmer that, looking at it head on, it looks like a pinky orangey copper kind of color, and then around the edges you get a little bit more into orange, gold, yellow, green, blue. So I wanted to see how this one performed over a deeper color because I knew that was kind of what it was meant for. And you can see over the navy blue, it's a pretty cool effect. You can see it really shifts based on the angle of your nail, but mostly head on you see that pink and coppery kind of color. But just out of curiosity, I wanted to try it over a lighter color as well, and I was not surprised at all. I kind of expected it to look like this, but I was still a little disappointed because I just don't see myself ever wearing a shade like this over lighter colors. But I do think it's kind of funny. The iced out topper I would not wear over dark colors, and this Oil Slick one I would not wear over lighter colors. So maybe that was intentional, that they wanted to have like a dark version and a light version, because multi-chrome is basically the dark version of iridescent anyway. But yeah, anyway, I'm going to show you over black as well, and you can see it does have a really cool effect over very dark colors, and it definitely changes the base color a little bit if the base color is lighter. So you definitely want to work with darker shades when you're using this topper. So here are all of the topper shades. The top row is them on their own, and the bottom row is over black, just because those were the consistent colors that I used for each of the swatches. And you can see they really are pretty transformative. They all changed the black base color pretty nicely, and I really do enjoy playing with topper. So as harsh as I am being with this part of the review, I still feel like these are a lot of fun, and I appreciate them giving something like this a try. I feel like it's a little different for Essie to do something like this, so I appreciate the effort, and I feel like it's a lot of fun to experiment with them. So those are the polishes. Now, speaking of the Study Tips collection, I was overall really impressed with these. I liked the colors. I really liked the opacity. I think their formula has improved so much since I first got into nail polish, so I definitely appreciate how self-leveling and opaque they are now. And I also definitely appreciate their wide flat brush with the rounded tip. I think it just makes application a little bit easier. So I feel like these are great classic shades. There's nothing totally crazy or new going on here, but they're just good staples to have in your collection. Now, as far as the FX toppers, I think those were hit or miss for me. Mostly a hit, but I think I just struggle a little bit over certain colors just because I don't like a patchy manicure, and I think that some of these finishes kind of give that vibe. But that being said, I love toppers and I love experimenting with different combinations, so I'm still going to be using them a lot. I can already see myself combining a couple of them to make something unique. That's definitely something that I love to do, and I just really appreciate that Essie has kind of stepped outside of the box a little bit. Now, even these toppers aren't particularly groundbreaking, but I think for a mainstream brand, it's nice to see them try something funky. So these two lines come in two different bottle sizes. We have the regular Essie polishes, and those are the square bottles, and those are 13.5 milliliters. The Expressie polishes actually come in a longer, skinnier bottle, and those are 10 milliliters. I saw these on Target, and both lines are available for $9.99 USD. So I'm gonna link those down below, but if I find any cheaper options, I will link them as well. But yeah, that is it for my review. I'm curious to hear what you guys think of these. What do you think of the Study Tips collection? What do you think of these FX toppers? Did you pick any of them up, and do you like them? Do you hate them? Leave all your thoughts in the comments. If you enjoy my swatch and review videos, please give this one a thumbs up. It lets me know I'm doing a good job. And if you're not already subscribed to my channel, please consider subscribing. I put out new videos every Tuesday, Friday, and Sunday. I also have a second YouTube channel, my vlog channel, which is kind of just my day-to-day life. So I'll link that up in the cards for anybody who's interested. And I do have a podcast. It's not nail polish related, but it's a lot of fun. So I'm I'm gonna link that down in the description. And of course, a huge shout out to my Cosmic Admirals on Patreon, Amanda M, Rocket Man's Daughter, and Paola. I really appreciate your support, and I'll see you all in my next video. Bye. Today's fun fact question is a very seasonally appropriate question. This one comes from Patreon supporter Amanda, and Amanda wants to know, if you were an apple, what kind of apple would you be? Sweet, tart, a mix of both? I would like to say that I'd be a Honeycrisp, but I just feel like I'm probably not at that level. What's that one that's cosmic, actually? Cosmic apple? Cosmic crisp. You know what? I don't love the taste of a cosmic crisp. I'm more of a pink lady / gala apple gal. Also, love a Fiji apple. But I feel like for the name alone, I think I'm probably a cosmic crisp apple. I had never seen that before, I think last fall in stores. I'd never even heard of it before, but obviously I had to get it because I like space related things. So if you haven't tried it before, try it and see if you think of me. I would love to know what type of apple everybody considers themselves to be. So let me know in the comments. We can chat about it. And I will see you all in my next video. Bye.